Welcome back to I Accidentally Married a Filipina. My name is Rob, but this is not my story. It is part 2 of Steve and Luzels' story. After a night of guilty tossing and turning, I woke up for work with no video call from Luzelle. I know she is mad, and she has every right to not be led down the primrose path. So I let her cool down and I head to work and skip stopping by HR to see her sister Leah. My caseload is slow today, so I fire up the computer to see what traveling to the Philippines even looks like. It looks like 27 hours of traveling in a tin tube from Oklahoma City to Denver, to San Francisco, to Taipei, and finally to Angeles City. Oh, but wait, there's more. You can get a 3.5-hour taxi ride to Baguio from Angeles for $60. The flight alone was $3,100 this late in the game. Well, I better get some work done and mull this over. Who was I kidding? All I could think of was Luzelle having a bad time because of me. I booked that flight. I took a picture of my itinerary and messaged it over to her so she could see it when she woke up. Apparently she wasn't sleeping, as she immediately called me and asked if it was real. I assured her it was, and I would be in the Philippines for the month of December. I told her to go to sleep so I could work and we would talk later. I no sooner started my reports and Leah comes running into my office and hugs my neck and says, "Congratulations. I am so happy for you and my sister." Just then Sarge walks in and gets briefed on my action and tells Leah to calm down. Don't forget, baby steps. Don't pressure the fella. Everybody calms down and work goes as usual, and I jump into my truck and call Luzelle to sort this out as I'm leaving in 4 days. And I feel like a duck out of water. I start to pack, but then realize I better check the internet for what to pack. The Philippines is a hot weather country, or so I thought. According to the Weather Channel, I will need to pack long pants and long sleeve shirts for early morning and evening time. It seems that Baguio is at elevation and the mountains, and thus the cooler temperatures. Glad I checked. I start watching YouTube videos about the culture and how to act when I get there. To say I am overwhelmed would be an understatement, but I soldier on and wade through many videos to try and be prepared.
I think I'm mad at Steve, but he surprised me and booked his flight to see me. I am sure he loved me to spend too much money to just see me. I am so happy to have foreign boyfriend and I can't wait to see him in person at airport. I'm sure I will cry. But now I must make myself ready for Steve. I must clean my room at my apartment and I must book a room for Steve before we go to my parents for celebration for us. I hope we get along and he propose me before he leave back for America. I know my father will love Steve, they are both policemen. It has been many years since I have boyfriend and I hope to be best girlfriend for Steve.
I head to the airport and call Luzelle after I check in and get to my gate. Luzelle said to be careful and let me know every stop, even if she is asleep, and she would take a bus to Clark to pick me up at the airport. I appreciated that, as I know it isn't cheap for her and is going to be a long bus ride. I kept my word and messaged at every quick layover and called at the long ones. She answered every call and message, and that made me feel cared about, and I was really ready to meet her at the airport. The further I was away from the U.S., the more my past woes were washing away. As we landed, I was a new man and ready to meet a new woman. I make it through all the airport and customs hang-ups and head out the doors to see Luzelle. As I turn the corner, I see her standing there. She is even more beautiful in person. Long, shimmering, straight black hair, dark brown eyes, and light brown skin. She is built just like you would expect, a little over 5 feet tall and thin, and I couldn't believe my luck. We rush together, and she hugs me tightly, but she couldn't talk to me because she is ugly crying and just kisses my hands until she stops crying. I would normally find this awkward, but I think she probably has some baggage, as I have also, and maybe she is letting it go in the moment.
I pay 800 pesos bus fare to travel Angeles to meet my boyfriend at the airport. I arrive early and sit and wait him. I go to CR and refresh my face and wait him outside terminal doors. I am so nervous that he get on plane and will find me. I see him and run to him. I cry too much tears and hug him. He is real. I can feel him. He is very handsome man with all his hair and teeth. We go to Jollibee for quick food and then to the mall to catch bus to my hotel. We sit for 4 hours on bus and we talk for 2 hours straight and finally my nerves come down and I fall asleep on his arm.
Luzelle takes me to a popular burger joint that was super cheap. I got what I paid for, but I really didn't even taste the food for staring into Luzelle's eyes and chatting in person. She has a kind and quiet demeanor that I find attractive. We jump on a well-worn bus and travel to Baguio for a 4-hour ride. I'm wore out, but I can't sleep for looking out the window at the landscape that I have never seen before except on the internet. There was so much to look at, and I was loving every minute of it. One thing I found cool driving into Baguio was there were pine trees. It was like a taste of home, but everything else was not like home. We get a taxi to her hotel, and she checks me in and shows me her small room on the basement floor. It was very neat and clean, and that tells me a lot about her. She takes me up to my room, and we say our goodbyes until the morning. Luzelle is knocking at my door early and tells me she has breakfast coupons, so we must go down before she goes to work. The breakfast buffet was 4 different kinds of rice, 2 different local sausages that I found suspect, bread, scrambled eggs, and fruit. The price was right, so I made the best of it. We talked throughout breakfast, and she walked me back up to my room. We hugged, and I took the opportunity to bend down and kiss her lightly on the lips. She seemed a little embarrassed, but didn't stop me. As I went to turn, she said, "Careful, I love you." My heart and stomach dropped, but she was on the elevator before I could gather myself enough to protest. I spent the next hour deciphering what her "I love you" meant. Too soon. Baby steps are called for. I'm not there yet, and it appears she is. I decided to chalk it up to her excitement and take a nap and try to combat some jet lag. I wake up later, shower, get dressed, and head out to explore around the hotel. I grab a bite at the 7-Eleven because it was familiar, and just walk around one hilly block at a time so I didn't get lost. My Google Maps on my phone did not work, so I was being careful not to stray too far away. I stopped in a park to sit and watch the people go by, and I get a bunch of messages all at once. It was Luzelle, and she seems frantic. "Where are you? I went to your room. You are gone. Are you okay? Did you leave me? Did you find a new Filipina? Please answer." Wow. A bit dramatic, but I messaged her back my whereabouts, and she seems to calm down after finding out my intentions were good. As I'm sitting in the park enjoying the great weather, I couldn't help but notice many females that walked by would look at me and smile big. I would smile back, and they would giggle and look away. I also noticed how attractive seemingly every one of them were. Anyways, back to the hotel for the end of Luzelle's shift. I knock on her basement room, and she pulls the door open and hugs me like she thought she lost me and pulled me into her room. She said she was scared I had left her and I should let her know when I am going out, just to be safe. I said I would, but I felt a little stifled. We spent much of the next few days hiking the mountains and seeing the sights and having romantic dinners, but Luzelle never invited me to her room or would spend the night in my room. I cautiously questioned her one night at dinner, and she said we would wait until I met her parents for the celebration in a few days, and certainly not before we are engaged. This, combined with the "I love yous" and the overprotectiveness I was experiencing, was way too much. I felt dizzy. So I went up to my room, blaming jet lag and the bad 7-Eleven food. I set an early alarm, and when I woke up, I packed my bag and headed out in a taxi towards the SM Baguio Mall. I dropped by a small boutique hotel and had to pay early check-in, but I had to get some space and escape what I felt like was entrapment. Sure, Luzelle was beautiful, had a job, never married, and no kids, but the I love yous hurt my ears. After a few hours of sleep, I felt better and woke up to 24 messages from Luzelle. I didn't read them. I couldn't right now, so I shut my phone off. I know it sounds cruel, but I wasn't where I could think straight, and it is best not to say anything when you are upset. I grabbed breakfast at McDonald's, and as I was leaving, my coffee fell off my tray. I tried to catch it, but it spilled on a woman's shoes. I apologized profusely, and she said it's okay. And as I walked away in shame, I thought, even women with coffee all over their shoes are beautiful here. I headed out to the park and sat and tried to think, but my head was clouded with thoughts of beautiful women kept passing by, exercising and walking briskly past in spandex shorts. This didn't help clear my head, but it sure made me smile. I walked around the mall and stopped at an Italian place to have some pizza for lunch, and as I got up to use the restroom, I absent-mindedly bumped into a woman and say, "Excuse me." She furrows her brow and sternly looks at me and says, "Coffee man," and continues walking out as I notice her coffee-stained shoes from earlier. What a buffoon I am. I vow to pay better attention as I go back to the hotel to nap. I spend a little time at the pool and then clean up and go to a resto bar for dinner and decide on a few beers to unwind. After a few beers, I see an attractive Filipina walk by me and reach out and bump into me on purpose. How rude, I think. She starts laughing and says, "Hello, coffee man." I continue to apologize and I offer to buy her a drink and she sits down. She's very outgoing and very funny. We are having a great time and she asks where I am staying. I tell her, and she says she will walk me there so I don't attack any more women today. We stop at the hotel bar and get a nightcap and head to the room. She comes in and we chat and finish our drinks, and she goes to the restroom and I hear the shower running. "What are you doing?" I ask. "I work all day. I shower," she says. I'm starting to panic. The beer made me let this go too far. She comes out of the shower wrapped in a towel and comes in and hugs me and starts trying to kiss me. I resist and she says, "What is wrong? We had a great time today." I agreed, but said, "I don't know you very well." She said, "You know me well," as she begins to look a little perturbed. I say, "Now is not the right time," and she goes to kiss me again and whispers, "I love you, and you will love me after tonight." I pull away and ask her to leave, and she starts screaming at me in her language and starts throwing the coffee pot and other hotel items at me as she gathers her clothes and runs down the hallway screaming and knocking on doors the whole way.
Steve go to his room because he feels sick. I let him rest so we can be ready for our celebration in our province. When I go to his room in morning, he is not answering. I use key because I am scared he is sick. But he is gone. I message him all day but he no answer. He is gone. I knew he is too good to be true. He is a bad cano. My heart is broken. I call my sister to ask what she has done to me. I am shamed by this man, her friend. I stay in my room and cry and call but he no answer.
I smooth things over with the hotel staff, but they tell me I have to leave first thing in the morning. I didn't sleep much, and I did the walk of shame the next morning and went to Starbucks for a strong coffee and to turn on my phone. As my phone comes on, I get a call from Leah. She asked me in a not-so-nice voice what I had done to defile her sister. I was just honest. The I love yous were hard to take. I also told her about always be careful and call, and let me know you're okay, and the such. Leah let me speak and then said matter-of-factly, "For such a good cop, you sure missed all the clues." "How so?" I asked. "Be careful is our way of hinting we like you. Let me know you are okay is our way of saying we value you. And I love you is actually a cultural flaw. We Filipinos fall in love hard and fast. If she said it to you, you must take it as a compliment, not a jail sentence. You do whatever you want, but do not leave Baguio without sorting this out with my sister. I recommended you, and you're not going to make me look like a fool in front of my family." I said I understood and hung up. I spent most of the day just walking around and thinking. Mostly thinking that I really have hit the jackpot with Luzelle, and if I had the time, I could have been better prepared for the culture shock I walked into. I got a taxi back to Luzelle's hotel and went and knocked on the door. She opened the door and immediately slapped my face. I stood there and took my medicine and continued to apologize. She then hugged me just as hard as she had slapped me, and then she told me to sit down on her bed and went to get a cold washcloth to nurse my slapped face back to health, all the while holding back tears and saying sorry for slapping me. She said even though I was terrible to her and I shamed her, she still waited for me. As she finished with my face, she kissed my slapped cheek gently and said, "I love you." I said, "I love you too," and we went to dinner. The next day was a celebration in the province for us. It seemed like much ado about nothing until we got there just before dark. There were approximately 200 people milling around her parents' house. There were people singing loudly into a karaoke machine, table after table after table after table of side dishes and fruits. Everyone drinking beer and coconut wine and a giant roast pig 3 Filipinos were feverishly whacking with hatchets. String lights lit up and smoky fires here and there, and everyone hugging and congratulating Luzelle and then hugging me and shaking my hand, and every person there professed to being an aunt or an uncle or a cousin or a grandparent of Luzelle. I was certainly made to feel special. I could have freaked out again, but I decided to just fit into this culture and not ruin it for Luzelle, and by doing so I had the time of my life. Things calmed down when everyone got a bite to eat and sat down at tables. Luzelle and I had a special table up front. It felt more like a wedding reception than a welcome to the Philippines party, but when in Rome, I whispered to Luzelle, "Why is everyone treating me so special?" She said, and she responded, "They know how special you are to me, and they want you to feel special to them."
I forgive Steve and take him back. I know dating Filipina can be hard for foreign. I love him so much and he agreed to go to my province for welcome celebration. We go and everyone's so happy. I feel like the mayor of my province. Everyone's so good to Steve and he tried to fit in. I have so much pride in Steve. Family and friends talk to him and even my father shake his hand and talk about police. My father tells Steve, "You are good man, you take care of my daughter." We eat lechon boy and rice and Steve try coconut wine. We dance and we sing karaoke. Then at end of karaoke song Steve talk into microphone, say he love me and I will marry him. I cry and say yes and everyone rush to me and hug and cry with me. We marry 3 months later and we still marry today.